Our next guest has been here in the club before, and rather fantastic performer. So would you give a big welcome, Bill Clifton.
Well, thanks very much. What I'd like to do is just do a few of the old-time country songs that are sung around my part of the country and tell you a little bit about them as I go along. This first one is well, it goes like this. Well, I went to a turkey roast down the street. People down there eating like wild geese. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Now you talk about your people have a whale of a time, eating their chicken and drinking their wine. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Now some people say that a preacher won't steal, but I caught 3 in my cornfield. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Yeah, one had a bushel, one had a peck, one had a roast near tied around his neck. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Come on, guitar. Now here comes Sal walking down the street with a run-down stocking tied on her feet. Good morning, honey. Hello there, baby. Get over there now. Now, hello, Sal. I know you with a run-down stocking and a tore-up shoe. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. One more time. Now it makes no difference how times may be. Everything in the world, it sure suits me. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Now when I get ready to leave this earth, I'm gonna look back for my money's worth. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Coney Island. Yeah, I'm going back to Coney Island. Coney Isle was an amusement park over near Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's just a lot of nonsense and foolishness there. This next one is a story that was written. In fact, I'd like to do 2 in a row here that have to do with a particular aspect of Southern life. Written by a couple of fellows, both these songs, 2 different fellows who worked in the cotton mills in South Carolina and North Carolina. This first one was a song written by Dave Carnes, and Dave Carnes wrote his song during the height of the Depression in the early 30s, when there just wasn't enough of anything to go around, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt came in as the President of the United States and took the country off the gold standard and began to pump new ideas into the economic structure, one of which was buying things on easy terms, no money down, pay later, and so that you never actually owned anything, but you had everything, and you paid for the rest of your life to have this privilege. Dave Carnes wrote this one, and it's called Cotton Mill Colic. It has to do with, if you know, well, a baby gets the colic, and this is called Cotton Mill Colic. Now when you buy clothes on easy terms, collectors treat you like measly worms. $1 down, then the Lord knows you don't make the payments, they'll take your clothes. Go to bed nights and you can't sleep. You owe so much at the end of the week. No use to colic, they're all that way, a pecking at your door till they get your pay. I'm a-gonna starve or nobody will. You can't make a living at a cotton mill. $12 a week is all I get. How in the heck can you live on that? I've got a wife and 14 kids. We all sleep in two bedsteads, got patches in my breeches, holes in my hat, and I haven't had a shave since my wife got fat. No use to colic every day at noon, the kids get to crying in a different tune. I'm gonna starve or nobody will, you can't make a living in a cotton mill. When you go to work, you work like the devil. At the end of the week, you're not on the level. Payday comes, pay your rent. When you get through, you haven't got a cent to buy fatback meat, pinto beans. Now and then you get turnip greens. No use to colic, they're all that way. You can't get the money to move away. I'm gonna starve or nobody will. You can't make a living at a cotton mill. They'll run a few days and then they'll stand just to keep down the working man. We can't make it, we never will, as long as we work in a lousy mill. The poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting rich, and if I don't starve, well, I'm a son of a... No use to colic, no use to rave, we'll never rest until we're in our grave. I'm gonna starve or nobody will, you can't make a living at a cotton mill. This next one is a song that was written by another cotton mill hand, a fellow named Dorsey Dixon, who I had the pleasure of knowing for the last 10 years of his life. Dorsey was from East Rockingham, North Carolina, and he wrote a lot of songs that you may have heard of, things like Weave Room Blues, and one that he wrote that's very popular back home that you may have also heard one time or another here is called Wreck on the Highway, or I Didn't Hear Nobody Pray. This one is not so well known, but it's one of his almost lullaby songs and makes reference to the use of child labor in the mills during the 30s. It's got a nice chorus to it. You haven't sung a chorus tonight. Let's see if you'll sing this one. It's, we'll just do it one time, see how it goes. Come out of bed, you little sleepyhead, and get you a bite to eat. The factory whistle's calling you, there's no more time to sleep. Let's try it together. Come out of bed, you little sleepyhead, and get you a bite to eat. The factory whistle's calling you, there's no more time to sleep. I used to be a factory hand when things was moving slow, when children worked in the cotton mills, each morning had to go. Every morning just at 5, that whistle blew on time and called them babies out of bed at the age of 8 and 9. Come out of bed, you little sleepyhead, and get you a bite to eat. The factory whistle's calling you, there's no more time to sleep. To their jobs those little ones was strictly forced to go. Those babies had to be on time through rain and sleet and snow. Many times when things went wrong, their bosses often frowned. Many times those little ones was kicked and shoved around. Come out of bed, you little sleepyhead, and get you a bite to eat. The factory whistle's calling you, there's no more time to sleep. Those babies all grew up unlearned. They never went to school. They never learned to read or write. They learned to spin and spool. Many times when I close my eyes, I see that picture still, when textile work was carried on by babies in the mill. Come out of bed, you little sleepyhead, and get you a bite to eat. The factory whistle's calling you. There's no more time to sleep. Well, for those of us who've met before, which is very few of us, you don't need any introduction to the autoharp, but some of you may have seen the instrument but not known much about it. It's the invention of a German immigrant to the United States, a man from the area of southern Germany, known as Bavaria. In the 1870s, he was a man who was an innovator on various instruments in his own home country, such as the accordion, and he was a builder of zithers, and he began to build zithers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, without any great rush of buyers. And he found out that most Americans were fascinated with things that had buttons on it, so he's determined to develop a zither that was easy enough for Americans to play. And it's fondly called the idiot zither back home. What I'd like to do is play a little tune on it that I was putting together last Sunday, just a week ago, when I was coming up from south of England. I had a long drive, and I had a chance to sort of sit down every 100 miles and pick up the autoharp and see if I can remember this thing. We'll just call it Going to Scotland. Thank you. There's a family from down in southwestern Virginia that I always talk about when I go out to sing, because they've been very influential, not only on American country music, but very much so on myself. Family known as the original Carter family from southwestern Virginia, a little place called Maces Spring, Virginia. I had the very wonderful experience of meeting these folks when I was growing up, and getting to know and having as a close friend A.P. Carter, who was the male member of the group, since died 13 years ago. He's survived by his wife Sarah, who is still very much with us, although she doesn't sing professionally, and Maybelle, the sister-in-law, who does sing professionally with her daughters June and Helen and Anita, and her son-in-law Johnny Cash, wherever he goes all over the world. She's been singing professionally for 46 years. This is one of the songs that that they used to sing, the original Carter family, and I have a special reason why I wanted to play it tonight. It's one that's included on an album of the Carter family songs, which is being released in Britain in the autumn of this year. And none of these songs have ever been on albums before, so you won't have heard too many of them before, but they're nice songs, and when the album comes out, you want to be sure to look for it. It's on RCA. It's one called Amber Tresses.
Far away in sunny mountains, where the merry sunbeams play, there I wandered through the clover, singing to a village maid. She was dearer than the dearest, ever loving, kind, and true. And she wore beneath her bonnet amber tresses tied with blue. Fate decreed that we'd be parted ere the leaves of autumn fell. Then two hearts were separated that had loved each other well. She was all I had to cherish, ever loving, kind, and true. Now I see in every vision amber tresses tied with blue. She was dearer than the dearest, ever loving, kind, and true. And she wore beneath her bonnet amber tresses tied with blue.
Well, I think I'll just do a couple more here. I guess we'll have a break after that. I'm not quite sure how things are happening. I think it's probably time to do about two more songs before we have the break. This next song is one which, again, I would like to have some help singing on. It's one that was written in the year 1925 and has reference to a specific incident in the state of Tennessee. At that time in the state of Tennessee, the state authorities would not allow anybody to introduce Charles Darwin's theory of evolution into a classroom in the state school system. And one of the teachers, John Scopes, was asked by his fellow school teachers if he would test the state law by teaching Darwin's theory of evolution to his children. And he did, and he was arrested and brought to trial. The state of Tennessee managed to get William Jennings Bryant, the former Secretary of State under President Woodrow Wilson, to prosecute on behalf of the state, who was also very, Bryant was really not an evangelist, but he was certainly a Christian of very deep faith, and he felt that it was very important to uphold this position in the state of Tennessee. And Clarence Darrow came to the defense, who was also an eminent attorney at the time, came to the defense of John Scopes. The state of Tennessee won, and up until very recently, and really it was about 2.5 years ago, I guess, when the law was changed. I used to say, in fact, did say up until just a couple of years ago, that still to this day you can't teach the theory of evolution in a state school in Tennessee. And I had a lady at the back of the room somewhere down in Cantor, Sussex, where I was singing one night, and she screamed at me, and she said, "That's not true!" And I said, "Well, all right, I'll have a word with you a little later on." And so I was talking to her a little later on, and she said, "No," she said, "the law has been changed now." She said, "They changed it about 6 months ago." And I said, "Oh, that's really interesting. How do you know that?" And she said, "Well, I'm a school teacher from the state of Tennessee." So I presume that's true. Anyhow, that's a very long-winded introduction to this song, which is just a lot of fun to sing. It pokes a little fun at the theory of evolution, a little bit of fun at the evangelistic churches of the time who made it illegal to introduce this theory. It's called "There Ain't No Bugs on Me," naturally. And the chorus goes like this. Now there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Let's try it together. Now there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Oh, the night was dark and stormy, and the air was full of sleet. The old man joined the Ku Klux, and Ma, she lost her sheet. Now there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Now the Junie bug comes in June, and the lightning bug comes in May. Bed bug comes just any old time, but it doesn't come to stay. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Billy Sunday is a preacher, his church is always full. The people come from miles around just to hear him shoot the bull. Now there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Now the monkey swings by the end of his tail as he flies from tree to tree. There may be monkey in some of you guys, but there ain't no monkey in me. And there ain't no bugs on me, and there ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. And there ain't no flies on me, and there ain't no flies on me. There may be flies on some of you guys, but there ain't no flies on me. Well, there's a singer who I haven't sung any songs by yet tonight, who is also tremendously influential over the years with American country music, a man named Jimmy Rogers. And he wrote a lot of songs which deal with trains and traveling and things like that, because he worked in the railway yards. He was raised in the railway yards. His father was a railway man as well. And his father was a widower, and so the boy, Jimmy, grew up in the railway yards of Meridian, Mississippi, and most of the workers there were either very poor white people or else black. And the influence that Jimmy picked up largely was very much the combination of the two musical forms. And this particular song is one which probably has more of the black influence in it than the white. It's one of Jimmy Rogers' blue yodels. He had a dozen of them, or actually had a few extras, but this is Blue Yodel number 10, or There's Been a Groundhog Rootin' Round My Yard at Night. Something about you, mama, sure gives me the blues. Something about you, mama, sure gives me the blues. And it ain't your drop-stitch stockings, it ain't your blue buckle shoes. Dee-o-dee-o, dee-o, dee-o-dee. Now you know, sweet mama, I'm bound to love you some. Oh, yeah. Now you know, sweet mama, I'm bound to love you some.
'cause I've done more for you than anyone ever done. Yodelee, yodelee, yodelee. Got me a pretty mama, got me a bulldog too. Got me a pretty mama, got me a bulldog too. My mama, she don't love me, but my bulldog do. Yodelee, yodelee, yodelee. There's been a groundhog rooting round my yard at night. There's been a groundhog rooting round my yard at night. And from the way my mama treats me, he must be rootin' all right. Yodelee, yodelee, yodelee. Now I ain't no chic man, don't wanna vamp no girls. I ain't no chic man, don't wanna vamp no girls. 'Cause it's my regular grinding that gets me by in this world. Yodelee, 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 do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Bill will be back later on. A big welcome, Bill Clifton.
Well, I was born in Dixie in a boomer shack, just a little shanty by the railroad track. The humming of the drivers was my lullaby, and the freight train whistle taught me how to cry. I got the freight train blues. Lordy, 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 got 'em in the bottom of a rambling shoes. And when the whistle blows, I gotta go. Oh, Lordy, I guess I'm never gonna lose the freight train blues. Now my daddy was a fireman and my mama dear, she was the only daughter of an engineer. My sweetheart is a brakeman and that ain't no joke. It's a shame the way she keeps a good man broke. I got the freight train blues. Lordy, 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 got 'em in the bottom of a rambling shoe. And when the whistle blows, I gotta go. Oh, Lordy, I guess I'm never gonna lose the freight train blues. Now airplanes and autos always leave me cold. The moaning of a steamboat never stirs my soul. The only thing that makes me want to navigate is the wildcat whistle of a southbound freight. I got the freight train blues. Lordy, 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 got 'em in the bottom of a rambling shoe. And when the whistle blows, I gotta go. Oh, Lordy, I guess I'm never gonna lose the freight train blues. Now I know I'm old enough to quit my running round. I've tried 100 times to stop and settle down. Every time I find a place I'd like to stay, I hear a freight train whistle and I'm on my way. I got the freight train blues. Lordy, 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 got 'em in the bottom of a rambling shoe. And when the whistle blows, I gotta go. Oh, Lordy, I guess I'm never gonna lose the freight train blues.
Well, I'd like to ask you to help me sing this next song. It's one that's it's a story about a fellow who was out, well, for many, many years working at his usual trade. He was a lawyer by trade and was an unsuccessful one, financially speaking, that is. People just didn't pay their bills. And to sort of fix up his life for the future, he found himself a wealthy old maid who he could depend on for his financial resources over the years ahead. It's called The Unfortunate Man, and the chorus goes like this.
He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. Same words again. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. There once was a lawyer they called Mr. Clay. He had but few clients and they wouldn't pay. At last of starvation he grew so afraid, he courted and married a wealthy old maid. At the wedding this lawyer made one big mistake, 'twas not in omitting the wine or the cake. The ring was well chosen, they had a big feed, but the lawyer did not get a warranty deed. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. That night in their chamber this lady arose, began to prepare to retire and repose, while her husband sat near her, admiring her charms, that gave him such pleasure to hold in his arms. She went to the washstand to bathe her fair face, and thus she destroyed all her beauty and grace. The rose on her cheek quickly grew very faint. He saw on the towel it was nothing but paint. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. She went to the mirror to take down her hair, and when she had done so, her scalp was all bare. Said she, "Don't be frightened to see my bald head. I'll put on my cap when I get into bed." She hung her false hair on the wall on a peg, and then she proceeded to take off a leg. The poor trembling husband thought sure he would die when she asked him to come and take out her glass eye. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. The husband was biting his quivering lips while she was removing her counterfeit hips. Just then her false nose clattered down on the floor. The poor lawyer screamed and ran out at the door. A lot of these old songs have morals to them. Listen very closely to this one. Now all you young men who would marry for life, be sure to examine your intended wife. Remember the lawyer who trusted his eyes, and a little bit later got quite a surprise. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. He's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate man. Comes creeping o'er the eastern hill, and the air smells sweet all around, but the miner's thinking of the money to come as he's working in the deep of the ground. The miner's thinking of the money to come as he's working in the deep of the ground. Rain comes a-falling from a thundery sky, and the mist creeps in from the sea. But the prisoner's thinking of the summer's day as he's walking to the gallows tree. The prisoner's thinking of the summer's day as he's walking to the gallows tree. When there's no more money and the time's all gone, and the world's full of trouble all the way, then the young man's thinking of the pretty girl who's waiting at the close of the day. The young man's thinking of the pretty girl who's waiting at the close of the day. And as the seasons pass me by and the blossoms fade away, then I get to thinking of that dreadful morn when the green turns into gray. Then I get to thinking of that dreadful morn when the green turns into gray. Well, a lot of the tunes that I put together for the autoharp were done on days of travel, and this next one was a train trip up from Euston Station in London up to Coventry on a Sunday, and as you know, the train service on Sunday isn't always exactly what you'd like it to be, so there was lots of time to put a tune together. And this is a little bit of a willy jog called Mark's Tune. Goes like this. I could hardly go away from St. Andrews without singing this next song, because it's one which, well, it's a favorite of Tom's, I think, still, I hope. Do it for Tom anyhow. It's a song which was written by a miner who was one of the last miners to be pulled out alive of the cave-in in 1958 in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. It was the last cave-in they'll have there because they closed the mines after that. But this particular one was in the eyes of the country because it was in the news every day for the entire time, which was more than 3 weeks. I watched the newspapers, and after 8 days, on the 1st of November, I picked up the Sunday paper, and it turned out that the explosion that had taken place 8 days earlier, and most people had given up hope for anybody to be still alive after that period of time. The rescue team went through and picked up 8 more people, 7 of whom were still alive,
And Maurice Ruddick, who was one of the miners, the first thing he said, or at least the newspapers reported that he said when he was met by the rescue team, was, "Give me some water and I'll sing you a song." And I telephoned him in his hospital in Spring Hill and asked him if he had a song, and he said, well, I'll write one. And a few days later came this very long telegram. And I put a tune to it, and these words are basically the words that were written by one of the 7 miners who did come out alive after 8 days without food or water, or really any hope of being a mile beneath the surface of the earth in a little place about 3 foot high. And I'll just sing it to finish up this evening with my part of the evening before Nick Jones comes on. The Spring Hill mine disaster.
The 23rd of October, we'll remember that day. Down the shaft underground in our usual way. In the Cumberland pit, how the rafters cracked down, and a black hell closed round us way down in the ground. Now when the news reached our good neighbors nearby, the rescue work started, their hopes were still high. But the last bit of hope, like our lamps, soon burned dim. In that 3-foot-high dungeon, we joined in a hymn in that dark, black hole in the ground. Only God will ever know all that happened down there. How he watched Percy Rector die gasping a prayer. Young Clark had his birthday, he thought in his grave. After days of cruel torture, we'd no hopes to be saved. We sang all together, though racked through with pain. When they broke through, we knew that our prayers weren't in vain. I crawled through the tunnel, they helped me along. I said, give me some water, and I'll sing you a song of that dark, black hole in the ground. I'll sing you a song of the bravest of men, of those who remain to go digging again, to bring the coal up from 10,000 feet deep, and the others who stayed there forever to sleep. Oh, be thankful, you fellows brought back from the dead, and pray for your friends who have gone on ahead. And you boys up in heaven, as you look on down, don't forget to remember Spring Hill Mining Town and that dark, black hole in the ground.